Iran is being pummeled by airstrikes for a sixth consecutive day and responding with new attacks of its own against Israel and U.S. military targets. This video into us shows the damage in Tehran caused by strikes Israel says are aimed at military infrastructure. Iran says more than 1,200 people have been killed since the start of the war. The UN estimates at least 100,000 people have fled Tehran because of the conflict. Nahid Sari joins us now. She came to Canada from Iran in 2021, where she and her brother now live. The rest of her family remains in Iran, and she's only had limited contact. Hello to you.
Hi, David.
It's so hard for so many Iranian Canadians to reach family in Iran with the internet blackout. Have you had any luck?
So, as you said, it's kind of exactly from the beginning of the war, we lost the connection with our family. I just received a 1-minute phone call from my mom. I think it was 2 days ago. That she told me that, they are safe, and then it was the only thing that I got. But imagine that one thing that you should know, that this is exactly the deliberate shutdown that we are having every time that the Islamic regime wants us to not share something or not have connection. It's war. It should be the time that people get the news, but it seems that they like more casualty. That's why they shut down the internet every time that there is something happening.
So the information flow really just comes from the regime. They run state TV, for instance. They pour out propaganda. The version that your family would be getting of what's happening compared to the version you're getting is completely different in many ways.
They want this. They really want this because, if they can control the thing that is coming from Iran, they can buy empathy from the world easily. So this is the plan. So if, Iranian people are talking from inside, they can expose the lies that the regime is saying to the world. And this is something that we have seen. This is not something that happened, once. Even 50 days ago, when they shut down the internet and massacred Iranian people, they did the same thing. And for 2 weeks, we didn't have any connection. Even the landlines were not working. And after 2 weeks, when we were connected, we noticed that we lost family member. And we had injured family member. We had detained family member. And this is just for one family. And imagine that we are living in a very small area, very small hometown, and there were so many more in that small area. I knew many of them because the area is so small. My friends, nephew, my other friends, and their family members. And this is just about one hometown. What's happening in the rest of the country, you can see the numbers. So this is the plan. This is something that they want to stop people from talking and exposing whatever that is happening, while the missiles are coming to Iran. At the same time, they are arresting people. They are attacking, people. And this is very difficult situation for Iranian people. Voices, bombardment and the regime.
Yeah, just because you're talking about the arrests and what happens when people go to the street to protest, we've heard, for instance, President Trump, among others, saying to Iranians, go out, take your country back, stand up to the regime. And you know firsthand what happens when people have stood up to the regime. Your cousin was killed in January of this year. And I wonder, when you hear calls for people to take on the regime, what goes through your mind?
It was my husband's cousin, but imagine that, when people are going to a street, it needs the massive amount of bravery, and it's very, very scary. I have participated in some of these protests when I was in Iran, and it was like, even when you are going to this protests, that there might be tons of dangers. You can be arrested, you can be tortured, you can be executed, and people are actually going to the protest knowing that, they want the basic human right, and, they can't hesitate anymore. Imagine that they are living their life like, which is a hell that this regime provided for Iranian people. And they know that, if they are not choosing the path to go to protest and try to save themselves, there is no life, there is no hope outside as well. So that's why with all this danger, Iranian people are trying to do that. But with this kind of, massacre that happened, we were thinking that, okay, this is like wishful thinking, that we are going to change the regime from inside, from the, without help from outside board. That's why, it was like 2 months ago that it was like a last straw for many Iranian people, that they were thinking that if millions of people are coming to a street, we can change the regime from inside, which is not costly. We know the expenses. We know that how many lives is going to be lost. We know what's happening to the country is going to be destroyed. But imagine that, maybe by the end of this task, we might have a hope. But imagine that if this regime is saying, even one day more, they are going to destroy country and the people. There is no hope. They create a situation that people have no hope with this regime.
Nahed Sari, thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.